Have you ever been stuck in traffic? It's a miserable experience and it really gets on people's nerves. But just imagine if the traffic was in frigid conditions. How about then? Let's add the kicker. What if everybody's driving an electric vehicle and we're in heavy traffic? I'm talking bumper to bumper here. On the road for like what, 20 hours? How's that gonna go? Were you guys aware that an electric vehicle usually uses up so much more minerals compared to a gas-powered car? And in some countries, producing more EVs actually ends up doing more harm than good? Did you know that? I know it's a little bit dizzying just to think about all this, especially since we've been told that renewable energy is the future. It's the way to go. And this is for the good of all mankind, for our environment. But it's actually been revealed that some countries are hesitant to get on board this green energy train. Could it be due to the fact that some people are literally being pushed to gather as much cobalt as they can in the Congo? It's true, guys. And I even have an article from the World Economic Forum saying that it's bad for the people there. The WEF, the WEF, is telling us that something is bad. And for once, many seem to agree with them. Am I in the twilight zone or something right now? And I got a lot to talk to you guys about today, so definitely keep it locked all the way to the end of this video. But before I begin, please do me one solid huge favor by dropping a like for the video. It is apparent that a lot of my content that I provide, especially those that challenge ideas like these, tend to get suppressed. So go ahead and share this video with all your friends as well. And if you're in need of your daily dose of the truth when it comes to global happenings, the housing market, the stock market, the state of our economy, Social Security, SSI, SSDI, cryptocurrency, CBDC, and what is actually going on in Washington, D.C. that affects our lives, our families, and our bank accounts, make sure to subscribe to the channel and make sure your notification bell is turned on. And if you own a home, make sure your home is protected. Get your free home warranty quote. Links in the description down below. It only takes like 15 seconds.
We're going to go all electric. And that's going to save billions of gallons of gasoline burning into the air. It's not only going to save the environment, it's going to help create really good paying jobs. We're providing tax credits for folks who buy electric vehicles to encourage them to do it.
That was none other than President Joe Biden making his case once again for the transition for more electric powered, well, everything. But let's stick to vehicles for this one. Do any of you remember the icy traffic catastrophe in Virginia last year? You know, the one where drivers were stranded for almost 24 hours? Now, look back and imagine that all those vehicles were EVs. Let's say that some remembered to charge their cars while others didn't. By having just 10% of those cars lose power, it creates a whirlwind of problems, especially if charging stations are not available. Now, although that is the worst case scenario, but unlike gas-powered cars, rescuers can't just bring batteries like gallons of gas in jugs. At this point, charging stations would be the best option. Either that or you have to tow all of these cars. But let's talk about these EVs in depth. How much is the cheapest EV that we can buy in today's market? Now, a quick Google search showed me the 2023 Chevrolet Bolt EV at $26,500. That's the brand new price, by the way. So in 2023, you need to spend almost $27,000 just to get in on one of these tax credits that the president was boasting about. But remember that there are these qualifications for these credits, right? So the credit ranges from $2,500 to $7,500. You can't buy a used EV. It's got to be a brand new one, and you have to be the owner. Credits are reduced and eventually run out after the manufacturer sells 200,000 qualifying vehicles. So if you were thinking of getting a Tesla or a GM EV, then you might be out of luck already. The car also has to weigh less than 14,000 pounds. Why is the weight a big deal? Well, if you weren't aware, EVs are considerably heavier than conventional cars, and that's because they have heavy batteries. Check this out. In terms of kilograms, EVs contain more graphite, copper, nickel, cobalt. You know what? Contains a lot of minerals that we don't normally see in gas-powered cars, obviously because they're built to have rechargeable energy. But were you aware as to how cobalt is being collected? I know this sounds random as heck, but I assure you that there is a reason why I'm saying this. These are cobalt mines in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And in this video, approximately 5,000 people are packed together to swing hammers and collect cobalt. It's an important element for rechargeable batteries, not just in cars, but in the batteries in general. The working conditions in Congo are awful, and even the World Economic Forum, the WEF, of all people, of all groups, they took notice of it back in 2019. Now, I kid you not, you can look up their article yourself, and it's titled The Dirty Secret of Electric Vehicles. And it says here that, quote, Amnesty International says human rights abuses, including the use of child labor and the extraction of minerals like cobalt, used to make the batteries that power electric vehicles is undermining ethical claims about the cars, end quote. Wow, that's a dirty little secret. And just to drive the point home, Kumi Nadeau, Amnesty's Secretary General, said that climate change should not be faced while human rights are being trampled. Nadeau adds that, quote, without radical changes, the batteries which power green vehicles will continue to be tainted by human rights abuses, end quote. Abuses that I don't think many people are aware of. People like Kevin Bacon. In a tweet earlier this year, Bacon touted the benefits of having an electric vehicle. Well, this was obviously an ad from Hyundai, but one of the replies came from Siddharth Kara, and in his response, he basically cited what I was saying earlier. Moving on to electric vehicles wouldn't make our lives more green. It would just add to our slave labor. Kara is actually the writer of Cobalt Red, a book that shows the dark side of EVs and cobalt. It's also worth noting that, quote, the International Energy Agency hopes we can reach 130 million electric cars by 2030, a breathtaking expectation given that we have spent decades and billions of dollars in subsidies just to reach 5 million. Even if we could do that, it would cut a trifling 0.4% of global emissions by 2030, end quote. That almost makes it seem like it's not even worth doing, does it? Now, I wonder what the chances are at some point in the future going down this road and realizing, hey, we can't really obtain this EV, all green energy, electric everything environment that they're just pushing for. What would happen if we reverted back to, gas-powered, petroleum-powered vehicles and overall infrastructure? That's an interesting one. But all of this EV push, this is for climate change, right? Is it to make the world a better place? But why is China, the world's biggest electric car market, set to suffer from this transition? The problem is that they have so many coal-powered plants that electric cars worsen local air, and it's said that it has lethal consequences. So much so that the air pollution from an additional billion EVs would kill almost 3 times as many people annually compared to an additional million gas-powered cars. I guess this is why some countries are hesitant to get on board the renewable energy train. Take Italy, for example. So Italy's Prime Minister Giorgia Meloni had this to say about the proposed European 2035 ban on combustion engines. Quote, that is not reasonable. And I think there is also a certain alignment by other European countries on our position, end quote. And 2035 is also a key year for us here at home. The likes of California has already announced that they're banning the sale of gas-powered cars by the same year. Do you guys think that this is also not reasonable? And now that you know so much more about how everything works behind the scenes, what do you think is actually motivation to move all of us toward this kind of technology? Given that the electric grids, our power grids, aren't stable, and if snowstorms happen, we'd all be just screwed. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. We may face trouble in the future when it comes to these vehicles, but at this point, many of us are already facing troubles when it comes to our expenses. You're just having to think about the monthly cost of food, housing, credit cards, rent, car payments, and necessities drive many of us up the wall. But since you're watching this video, I hope to give you guys some hope in the form of opportunities. Opportunities to learn different ways to get back to financial freedom. There's the route for entrepreneurs, you got side hustles, small businesses. The upside is the possibility of multiple streams of income. Now, there's also the route for investors in the stock market and maybe for real estate investing, which if done right can yield pretty extremely great results. Well, if you guys are interested in learning more about this, feel free to join us over in the Patreon community. And for the best way to invest in gold, hit the link in the description down below. This community has some of the sharpest minds that I've ever seen on the internet. So I know that you guys will make the smart decisions. Now, before I go, please take a second, drop a thumbs up for the video. Also subscribe for your daily dose of the truth. Appreciate you guys watching. Please be kind to one another, and I'll see you on the next video.